Yeah.
I think you have a dish prepared, or you thought about developing a dish for us today.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through how we threw out a challenge to you? How would you create a street food beef dish? That's what our students are competing. So walk us through how you created your beef dish and what you thought about as you created this. What was your first step, and how did you get to your final um, process?
So the beef dish that I picked for this, I'm just gonna do a beef tartare. You can use something along the lines as a filet, ribeye, or strip steak. I have a couple caps of the strip steak today. I mean, ribeye here, and then I'm gonna be using for that. Um we have the same dish right now on our menu, and normally it takes me a week to 2 weeks to create a dish. This dish took me almost a month, and reason why is because I was taking a staple out of the menu. You think about restaurants, and a lot of restaurants keep the dishes that are the most popular. They keep them, because that's what makes the restaurant. Working in New York City, I saw that people didn't do that. They wanted to challenge themselves, and they wanted to give people something different. So I decided to take one of the staples off the menu. And doing that, I had a lot of pressure on myself. I challenged myself to come up with something better. Um, and I did a Mexican seafood salad, but for this, I decided to turn it into a beef tartare because it works. And this dish is like layers and layers and layers again. Basically, it's almost a take on the beef that I did for the first throwdown, but not searing it. And you know, there are so many components in here, and it's all about freshness and balancing the dish very well with fat, acidity, textures, and hitting all those angles. So it's basically a tackle, but into a beef dish that is going to be served raw.
Well, as you're transitioning into preparing that dish, I want to throw it out there for those joining us. Chef Cruz was the winner of the New York Beef Council Beef Throwdown in Rochester, and he, my understanding, provided an excellent dish with that personality that he's discussing. Was able to, really put it over the top. So, can you show us how to prepare a beef tartare?
Yeah. So I'm gonna move the computer a little bit, kind of like close to the cutting board. I get my mise en place. To those out there that don't know what mise en place is, that's the most important thing that you'll ever have in a kitchen. It's everything has to be in place for you to be successful, and that translates to your life as well. You can't just go out there without a plan and succeed. You got to plan, you got to organize, and that way you're going to succeed. And that's what we do here at the restaurant. We prepare ourselves to be successful for a service.
And while he's grabbing his beef, I want to remind those who are participating today, if you have any questions, please throw your questions in the chat at any time, and we'll throw those out to Chef Cruz. I know he would be more than willing to answer those questions. So what are you opening up there, Chef?
This
What are
right
you
here,
looking at?
some red onions. Uh, Red onions are really, really, really good, and it's the only onion other than scallions that I like to eat raw, and I don't like to cook much with them. I think red onions just should be eaten raw. If you want to cook with an onion, you use a red, yellow, a white or yellow onion. For this dish, also you don't want to slice them really, really thick. You want to slice them as thin as possible. As you guys can see here, it's almost like paper thin. Uh, that's going to bring you a different kind of like flavor profile, and it's not going to overwhelm the palate. So this dish is all about technique, and how do you cut your vegetables, since it's going to be a lot of raw vegetables. So we have that. We have some thinly sliced radishes. You think about a taco. Taco has red onions, radishes, some salsa verde, and some sour cream. That's basically it.
Have you been marinating those radishes,
No,
or are they just in water?
we just you just put them in water just so they don't oxidize and they stay crispy. We don't marinate them at all. Then right here, Similar to the onions, we have some fresh bell peppers mixed in with jalapenos. I like to do 2 to 1 because the jalapenos, not a lot of people are always gonna like a spicy. So that's something that you have to balance over here. So we do 2 times peppers, bell peppers, and 1 time jalapeno.
And
Uh,
profiles might I see jalapenos and bell peppers used? Is that Italian? I know we're cooking Spanish. Are there some other flavor profiles from around the world you might use those peppers in?
I mean, bell pepper is a very, very universal thing. Like it goes anywhere. I think onions and peppers is one of those ingredients that can go up to anywhere. It all depends what you do with them. You throw a pepper in an open flame, you have a roasted red pepper, which is very well found in Italian salads, salumi boards. You think about Asian cuisine, they do thick slice, barely cooked, just kind of like super quickly cooked with, and their stir fries and things like that. So these are like very, very, this is like one of the most universal ingredients that you can find and use pretty much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. We're gonna be using some fresh limes. We're gonna be using.
Now with the limes, I could use that in Spanish dishes. How about Caribbean? If I want to do a Caribbean dish, so if I wanted to go with a Caribbean profile, I could also possibly.
You can also use that. We make this tequila lime vinaigrette for this dish. We use raw tequila because we kind of want you to taste that. This is a simple vinaigrette. We use 1 pint of raw tequila. We use 6 to 8 lemons. I mean, not lemons, limes. We only zest 4 of them. And then we squeeze the rest onto, like, we use the juice of all of them, basically. We used a quart of olive oil. And then we also balanced the dish with a little bit of sugar, salt. There's a good amount of sugar in here. Again, I want you to taste the tequila. But the only way that you're gonna hide that really, really, really strong alcohol flavor is with like good amount of sugar. I couldn't tell you how much sugar. I have a base of it. I am very, very palate trained, and I just taste things and I can adjust from there.
So you mentioned zesting. What is zesting?
So zesting is basically grabbing your citrus and just gently taking the skin out of it. You only want the skin. You don't want to do really, really heavy and get into the white part. The skin is gonna give you that lime flavor that you really want without adding any acidity to the dish. So it's just only going to give you, flavor. It's not gonna give you acidity. The juice of the fruit is what's going to give you acidity, so that's why we only do 4 of them, and then we juice the rest. And if you get to the white part, you're messing up, because the white part tends to be very, very bitter. And if you have a palate like mine, you're gonna taste it.
So we have lemons, we have your your radishes, your peppers, jalapenos, bell peppers, with your vinaigrette. So what's the next step, Chef?
So right now, again, like I explained earlier, we have over here a avocado puree. This avocado puree is probably one of the simplest thing. Again, this is just kind of like going to make your dish on the prettier side. It's gonna add a lot of fat to it. Fat, it's like really, really delicious. A lot of people use fat as an unhealthy thing. It all depends what kind of fats you put in your body. I eat a lot of fat on a daily basis. I'm an ultra runner as well, so I have to eat high calories, and I don't eat a lot, but like all my meals are planned, and like, I think 30% of my diet is fat. So avocado is one of those good healthy fats. So there's nowhere to be afraid of like not adding fat to the dish. You just got to find those healthy fats. So this is an avocado puree, very simple. We puree with a little bit of water, lime juice, not a lot because we are having a lot of lime already, but just kind of like balance the flavor out, and salt, nothing else. So it's just avocado oil and salt with a squeeze of lime.
And then we're
Uh,
looking at our protein.
yeah,
So what protein you're using? I believe you mentioned
I
flank
have
steak,
I have the caps of the ribeye right here. So
ribeye.
the ribeye has, a little cap on top. I took the fat a little bit out. You don't want a lot of fat for this dish because it's going to be raw. You have fat all over the places. And then right here we have a cumin crema. Right here it's just sour cream, a little bit of water to thin it out, and cumin and a couple of cloves of garlic. You microplane the garlic to kind of like it's a puree, and then you add that to your crema with a little bit of cumin. Cumin is something that is very, very well found in like Mexican food. Again, when you talk about spices and things they use, this is what's gonna make it, where it comes from. You can use sour creams in so many different cultures, but what's gonna separate you from like, other places that will use the sour cream is adding that little bit of cumin to kind of like help you with that.
And we think of cumin, we would think of things like chili
Yeah,
and
chili,
Tex-Mex, and
yeah.
so that's another profile where you can use that ingredient in. So how do I put this dish all together? You talked about having all these different layers, and I see that there's many different layers. Can you walk us through how you're
I'm gonna walk you guys through. I forgot to take my vinaigrette out. I'm gonna grab a little bit of hot water.
So for the classes out there, we have Chef Cruz, who is from Puerto Rico, and he's putting together a steak tartare. This is a dish a lot of times that you would find in many Hispanic, Latino countries when we're discussing street food. And street food are foods that are readily available. You're able to grab and go. A lot of times they are identified as food of the working class people. So it's, they're running to their office job or other jobs, and they're able to quickly grab a great meal. And as Chef identified, a lot of these are going to have those proteins and fats that you find in steak, and those nutritional values to help you through the day. So Chef, walk us through, what are you doing?
Can you guys see over here? Can you see the cutting board?
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to start with, cutting the meat. I left a little bit of fat here. I'm going to take that off. When you do a beef tartare, it's very important that you cut the meat the right way. As you can see right here, there's striations that are going this way. So I don't know if you guys can see that very well, but there's always lines on a piece of meat that you're gonna see, and you always want to cut against those so you can, when people are gonna chew the meat's already tender. If you slice it the wrong way, people are gonna be chewing on the meat, and it's gonna be almost like gum instead of being tender. So we have about, I'd say, half an inch here, and I want to make that a little bit thinner, so I'm just gonna butterfly that.
And as he's cutting that, we do have a video on our YouTube channel with New York Agriculture in the Classroom that focuses on those knife skills. So if you're looking to brush up on your knife skills, definitely check that out.
So we have this right here. I normally, when I cut it, I like to kind of like pound it a little bit myself to even make it a little bit thinner. And really pounding any kind of meat is gonna tenderize it a little bit, So again, we talk about those lines. I'm gonna go against them, super thin over here.
And so you discussed, as you're cutting that, you discussed trying to develop different textures in the mouth. So by doing it this way, what textures am I creating for the consumer?
So by doing this, it's just gonna provide a more like tender texture to the person that will be eating this. And again, no one wants to be chewing on a piece of meat for a long time. First of all, you got to start with a great piece of meat. You got to start with a great cut. If you don't do that, you're gonna basically not succeed. We're cooks. We're not magicians. We cannot turn a bad piece of meat into a good piece of meat. Uh, so it's really, really important. There's people with different philosophies of like buying things a little bit cheaper and fixing them and making them taste good. You know, Props to them. That's the way they want to do things. I don't do things that way. I like to start with very, very good ingredients and let the ingredients speak for themselves. I just respect the ingredients. That's the way that I was trained. You got to respect the ingredients that you're working with in order for the ingredients to shine. If you're cooking a piece of meat, you got to make sure you cook it the right way. You know.
So now I have a chewy texture. How am I going to thinking about developing these different textures? What in your mind are you going to do next to give a different experience once I've bit into that beef? What am I going to offset that with?
So this dish is gonna get garnished with a little bit of tortilla chips. Um, those tortilla chips are just white corn tortilla that we fry, and basically we fry them, and when they come out, we just season them with salt and pepper, nothing else, just simple. Again, this is the purpose of like adding those tortilla chips to this dish is just going to be to uh, basically add another layer of texture. Since you've mentioned that this is going to be super tender when you bite into it, the meat is gonna break down, and it's gonna be super super delicious. Uh, Another thing that why I chose to do this here, and we do a lot of cold dishes here at Rella. It's because we don't have much equipment. I'm gonna stop here real quick to show you guys a couple things, real quick, because we don't have a lot. Sometimes you just got to work with what you got, and not complain. Because if you complain, you're starting to fail. Okay. So we have these steam kettles. They're really cool. We make our soups, pastas, stews, things like this and this. And then we have this home toaster oven. We don't have anything else here.
So you don't need much to make a great.
You don't need much to make a great dish. You just need to adjust.
As we're thinking about street food, many of these vendors
don't have anything.
Much, right? Maybe a charcoal fire or, a basic wok or pot and pan, and that's it. So we have some raw meat, and you mentioned that this is a raw food. So how do we keep people from getting sick? I mean, is there something I can do to counteract some of maybe those things?
So you got to think about again the quality of the food. If you're pregnant or you're a child, you shouldn't be eating this. That's the rule. If you eat it, you're at your own risk. There's something that we put on our menu that you have to advise people that if you consume raw food, you're consuming it at your own risk. We source the best product that we can, so we can be able to serve it raw. There is nothing wrong with that. If your immune system is not a good immune system, you're not going to be able to eat food like this, So it's all a balance, I have been able to build a really trustworthy relationship with my guests that come here. And I'm just lucky enough that at this point, people come in and tell me, hey, I normally don't eat this, but I know if you're making it and I don't like it, I just been had it the wrong way this entire time in my entire life. I get people here all the time that I don't like oysters. I don't eat oysters. And, because I want them to experience how great an oyster can be, I just gave it to them for free and I changed their mind.
Awesome.
So we have the beef here. Now we're going to start adding our components to it, which is going to be really, really simple. We're going to season that with a little bit of salt right on the meat. And then after that, we are going to add a little bit of those red onions right in there, kind of like, I would say an eighth of your amount of beef. You add an eighth of the amount, you calculate that amount, and then an eighth of that add onions of that. I would say same thing with the peppers, because this dish is all about the beef. So you don't want it to taste a lot like onions. You don't want it to taste a lot like the peppers. These things are only going to complement the beef. You know, it's complementary things. I didn't say I was going to make an onion tartare or pepper tartare. And, you know, it's just a beef tartare. So these things are just going to be there to complement that. So about the same amount of peppers. Now we have our vinaigrette here. It's a broken vinaigrette. It's not emulsified. So you're gonna make sure you shake it. And once you shake that, you know, you add your vinaigrette to it. You know, you kind of like want it to be a little bit loose, but not too much. And grab a little bit spatula. You kind of like mix that in a little bit. It smells so good already. And I haven't even done. It's just that vinaigrette. And then you have that there, you know, and you kind of like put that a little bit to the side for a little bit. And then you're gonna grab your plate. You have your mixture of the beef already there. Then you're gonna grab your plate. I'm gonna grab my avocado puree. I'm gonna stir it really well. Every time I use something, I just really accustomed to stir it. I'm gonna find a smaller spoon for this particular plating.
So as he's looking at that, when he talked about emulsification, it was a broken or separated mixture, and so that's where the oil and the vinegar or the acid has separated. So when you emulsify it, it's not separated and it's been pressured together, because we know oil and vinegar or water do not mix. So we have what are we looking at now on the plate? And that's a beautiful blue plate. Is that did you choose that for this dish?
Yeah, I chose this plate. All our plates are random. We plate things randomly. This is probably one of my favorite plates that we have right now in house. I buy plates very random. I'm out, I see a plate I like. They only have like 2 or 3. I buy them all. You know, so this is the avocado puree right now. I'm just gonna make a little bit of some swoosh right here. I'm only gonna do 3. And you know, this is kind of like what you get with, you know, and that's just gonna add a little bit of, you know, presentation to the dish. Then we're gonna add a little bit of fresh chopped cilantro here to this mixture to give it a little bit more flavor. And now we're talking about freshness. A little bit of cilantro right in there, mix it in. It gives it a little bit of more color. And it's going to give you, again, those Mexican profiled flavors.
So as you're putting that down, we wanted to reach out to Lafayette. Have y'all been developing your flavor profiles yet? If you throw that in the chat, what profiles might you be thinking about developing?
Was that question for me or for someone else?
Yeah, we were reaching out to one of our classes, and we asked what their profiles might be that they're developing. Go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Carson. I'm from Lafayette High School. What we were thinking of, I suggested, I'm Native American, and one dish that I grew up eating is a dish that we call Indian tacos. And what it is, it's like a special, we fry our bread like a special way where like, no, it's like you're never gonna find the fry bread that we make west of here or south of here or north of here. It's like mainly central New York. It's like you'll never find it anywhere else. And then like it's topped off with chili as like your beef chili, as like your meat and all that stuff. It's basically like a huge taco. The chili varies if you want it spicy, if you don't want it spicy. Me personally, I like a lot of spice. Spice adds flavor. Flavor is good. And then it's like you add all your tacos toppings like lettuce, peppers, whatever you want, tomatoes, sour cream. So yeah, that's
awesome. That sounds delicious, and a big shout out to Lafayette right there, bordering the Onondaga Nation. So
I like where you're going, my friend. You know, you got to stick through to your roots, what you know. You know, I'm gonna give you my email, and you know, I want you to make your dish, and I want you to send me a picture of it, or you know, and I want you to tell me exactly what you do then, okay?
awesome.
and we'll definitely get you all connected. So, Chef, what's going on? Thank you for sharing down there in Lafayette.
So right
Chef,
now, I'm just
what
kind
you
of
got on the plate?
I'm just kind of like placing carefully my beef right next to that avocado puree, kind of like leaving that green, a little bit of the green part of the avocado puree visible. Always odd numbers work for anything, you know, odd numbers always look better than pair numbers. So that's why I decided to do 3 little piles. You know, a lot of people are against this. A lot of people like to use, you know, one straight line. I kind of like the negative split space on a plate. I think it, you know, it makes it a little bit more elegant. And I'm kind of putting all the flavors together. I'm not over here like, you know, putting all the flavors separate. The same thing that will be in each pile, you know. So it'll be like 3 different like bites, you know.
And so, as a consumer, it looks like I have an option. Looking at your plate or your offering, is I have an option of how I want to journey across your plate. Is that what you're thinking?
Exactly. You know, I just want you to like look at it and just a lot of people here when they look at our food, it's like I just really don't want to eat it. It's so pretty. You know, you want those kind of reactions, you know.
So we have our tartare, we have puree. It looks like you're pulling out some of those radishes.
Yeah, I'm pulling out some of these radishes too. And I'm just gonna cut them in half for the purpose of this dish. Normally we just leave them whole for our seafood salad, but I'm gonna cut them in half.
And is this an aesthetic thing that you're doing?
Yeah, this is just to make it like, you don't want a lot, you know. 1 whole radish kind of like will be too much. Even like a quarter, I think it will be better. So you cut this in quarters, and it kind of like gives it like a different perspective. I also want to put another of something that we have over here. We grow romaine, and that's kind of like gonna give it, for something like this that is super fresh and you know, like raw, you know, a touch of this grilled romaine, which is in our seafood salad as well. This is gonna add that like smoky flavor that you get out of a barbacoa taco, you know. So you're looking for like something that's gonna add smokiness to it. I love a lot of smokiness on my dishes. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of a couple of romaine leaves right here. You know, they're just have been grilled with they have been grilled with a little bit of olive oil, salt, pepper. And you know, when you build a dish like this, also something that you guys have to take in consideration when you're building a plate is you got to think about the way that people are going to eat it. It's not only has to be pretty, because making a dish pretty is super easy, you know, but you got to think about when people eat it. So a lot of chefs make the mistake of making a dish that is pretty, but then when you're eating it, it's kind of annoying because you have to scrape from here and go to there, you know. So eat the dish before you serve it to anyone, so you can make sure that, you know, you're preparing a really, really nice dish. So we have the grilled romaine right in there. And then we're going to go with this radishes quarters, right? You know, a little bit in different places. You don't want to cover too much of the meat, you know, but you want to put a few because they're delicious. Maybe put 1 right on the lettuce. Again, I'm only putting 3 of these quarters in the Again, odd numbers, 3 piles, 1 leaf, 3 pieces of radishes, and kind of like creating bites. I'm not putting them all in the same place. Then we go right in here, right in here, right in here. And then we have our crema that we talked earlier. And then we can put that right on the avocado swoosh. And it gives you like a contrast right there.
And so you discussed early on about how you have all these different mouthfeels, and you're taking a journey in that we eat with our eyes. So as our students are developing those dishes and that great indigenous native dish that Lafayette's looking to create, really to, as you're developing that and selling it on the street, that you want one of the marketing ideas is that you diversify your dish from other dishes through what people see. So we have our crema, we have our mouthfeels, and
then right here I made this salsa verde. This is very simple. I grabbed some tomatillos, garlic, and oregano. I toss everything together. I bake it in a really hot temperature oven. I roast some poblanos. I char some onions and char some jalapenos. And then I blend everything together with salt. That's it. So this is like a simple salsa verde. This is gonna add another layer of flavor to the dish. So I'm just gonna put a couple dots right on the beef, Salsa verde is something that you kind of like find in a lot of, it's very popular. It's either like a red salsa or a salsa verde. So we have that right there. And then we're gonna have our tortilla chips that I fry. For this particular dish, I'm gonna break them up a little bit because again, this is just kind of like going to be the texture of my dish. And I don't wanna cover that entire piece of meat because again, it's the beef. You wanna be able to see the beef as well. So you want a little bit of bits of crispiness when you have a bite, not just all one straight texture. So I'm just breaking little pieces of tortilla chips right on it.
So Chef Cruz, when you were designing this, you didn't use the chips as the mode, I guess, of trying to actually eat the dish. What made that decision?
It's just kind of like my style, this is like, I like things that are very elegant, it wasn't supposed to be a natural dish. If I was making nachos, I would probably just use put the beef on the tortilla so you pick it up. Again, it's a beef tartare. If I was making beef tartare nachos, I guess I would put a whole tortilla and then put the tartare on it. But this dish is all about the beef, I think a lot of tortilla in there will just take away from the beef. And that's just like my personal opinion. And then that's the dish. And then just to finish it up, we're gonna add some fresh squeezed lime juice, just to kind of brighten up the dish a little bit more. And I'm just gonna squeeze drops of it. I'm not even gonna squeeze a whole thing of it. Make sure you get a little bit on the lettuce as well. And that should do it right there,
Awesome. That's a beautiful plate. And as said, the chef always has to try their food, right? That's one of the best experiences. So as you're taking letting us know how that tastes, Chef, Lafayette, do you have any questions out there? Maybe any feedback that the chef can give you in developing your dish that you're developing?
So again, go ahead.
Okay. I just have a weird quick question. Why do you use tweezers to pick out your vegetables?
So it's like anything else. You need the right tools for the right things. The tweezers are going to put the things more precise than you trying to use your little fat fingers. I have fat fingers. I'm not saying yours, but I know I do have fat fingers. So, when you have a pair of tweezers, look how thin these things are, you can grab things and like be so precise of like where you're gonna put these things, you know. Look how small this radish is, you know, like, so it's all about like precision, you know. There's
So
different
can we compare that to an artist in their paintbrush?
and their paintbrush, you know, they use different kind of paintbrushes, you know. You know, it's like using, you know, I have a chef knife and that's what I use today, you know, but this is my chef knife. This is a multi-purpose knife, you know. I also have a Santuco knife right here, which is like my mostly knife that I use for vegetables. And, you know, I even have a little petty knife, which is for more detail works and small dice and things like that. So every tool that you use, it's just gonna give you a better result. If you always use the same tools, you're just gonna get the same results, you know, and that's what's gonna step you away from everything, you know. These things are not very common and very not like used here in Rochester, you know. This is something that I learned in New York City, and it just adds precision to your plating.
Awesome question. You have anything out? Any other questions in Lafayette?
None that I can think of right now.
Awesome. Well, Chef Cruz, we got to see you take a taste of that food.
Yeah. So I was gonna explain something to you guys, you know, as well as before I take a taste, you know. So that, can you guys see really well over there?
Yes, sir.
So, you know, one thing, you know, you never know how people are gonna eat the dish, you know. So the way that I prepare this, all I have to do is this. And, you know, I'm getting a little bit of everything in there. Let's say I had a knife, which I normally have, you know. And then, you know, I get a little bit of everything right in there.
And what's the experience that you have from this dish? What are you tasting?
So the first thing that coats your mouth is the avocado, right? This is the first thing. It's like that fat. And then what fat does, that's really good. What fat does, fat makes the flavor linger in your mouth longer. And then as the flavor lingers in your mouth, you know, I got a little bit of onion. I got a little bit of the crema in there. I can taste a little bit of the cumin. It's not overpowering everything. The first couple of bites, I had a little bit of soft textures for the beef. I had a little bit of crunchiness from the tortilla chips, you know, and then, you know, I would just kind of like finish with a little bit of the romaine, which is gonna add another layer of flavor of like smokiness as I grill the meat, but I never grilled the meat. And the romaine is like a very, very simple. You get a little bit of pepperiness from the radishes. You get a little bit of heat from the jalapeno, and also a little bit of heat that comes from the salsa verde. Wow. I gotta have another bite. Where did I put my fork?
Chef Cruz, we want to thank you. Thank you for your time and the time you spent with us.
So much, guys.
And we want to give a shout out to Lafayette. Go Lancers. We hope you all have a great day, and thank you for joining us. And we will be in contact, and we will connect you with Chef Cruz. So, yeah, Chef Cruz,
make sure you get my email. You know, it's C Nieves as my first name, Nieves my last name. .0. It's in the computer. I don't know if you see it.
Okay.
NIEVES .07 @gmail.com. That's cilantro. That's like it's chopped and it comes still coming, you know. So you know, you have any questions, you know, send me an email first. I'll send you my phone number, to be honest, because I'm a little bit bad with emails. I'm so busy doing other things.
Yeah, me too.
I get to emails like here and there. But if you have any questions, you know, where's your school?
South of Syracuse.
South, maybe like 15 minutes south of Syracuse.
Okay, you know, if you ever are in Rochester, you know, you can always stop by here. If you have people that you know here and you would like to like come over for one shift and work with us and you can see a little bit more, I always encourage people to do that. So you can see what we do here. You can learn directly from me. I can offer you that.
Yeah, that sounds awesome, because my goal right now, I want to go to college for culinary. I want to go to NYU because I heard they have an amazing culinary program. And then a project that I'm working on right now in school is that I'm creating like a menu for like say the restaurant that I would open when I get older. It's just a small dessert menu. You got to start somewhere.
Yep.
But, so I just picked desserts that I chose from countries around the world. The dessert menu is called Taste from Around the World, and then I would like to go start from there. Yeah, it's just,
I mean, I could tell you something, and you know, I was telling them before you guys got in the chat. You know, I am where I'm at because of the people that I have in my life. You know, there's something to say about mentors. You know, right now I'm mentoring a really, really good kid. He's not a kid. He's 2 years younger than me, but he reminds me a lot of a younger version of myself. Um, you know, not only these people taught me how to cook, these people taught me a lot about life, you know, and it's amazing, you know, how much you can learn from, you know, chefs, people that have lived, you know, different paths and lived different things, you know, and you know, everything relates to cooking almost, you know, like being prepared, you know, for your service. You know, you got to wake up in the morning, you got to organize yourself to have a successful day. You know, I live by a thing, you got to win the morning battle. If you don't win the morning battle, you're done. You know, I get up every morning, I get some miles in. Like I said, I'm an ultra runner as well. I'm in that's one of my newest goals. You know, I am trying to get sponsored by a company so I don't have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars in shoes. I run a lot of miles, so I go through shoes like hotcakes. I buy like shoes every other month almost. But you know, it's everything about, you know, and another thing that I want to like advise you on, motivation. Motivation is a really, really good thing for you, but what's going to take you to the next level is discipline. You know, motivation fades. You have to stay disciplined with everything that you want to do in life. You know, you have to be able to like wake up in the morning and do the things that you don't want to do, even if you're tired, because that's what discipline is. You know, if you do everything when you're motivated, it's easy. You know, so sometimes I don't want to wake up and run 15 miles in the morning, but I get up at 5 in the morning, and the first thing, well, even letting my brain take control of like you're tired, you're sore, I jump out of bed and I get a cup of coffee and I lace up so I can get my things done, and that translates to my work life as well.
Well, I love that advice, Chef Cruz. Thank you so much. In Lafayette, Lancers, thank you so much. We want to thank you on behalf of New York Beef Council and New York Agriculture in the Classroom. We hope you all have a great day, and please let us know if we can support you in your classrooms as you're developing your top cut. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much.
bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.